So, world, Omar Hosea, the real, coming back at you on another topic. We got a lot of this to give you. See, this is what we do every day, all day. 2, 4, 7. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, we got more of this, but nobody wants to chit chat and converse because there's so many. You worry about how many subscribers you got, how many views. See, nobody cares about the message. Everybody wants the glory of how many views how many people see my stuff. How many subscribers I got? I got 2 subscribers. Ooh. I got 2 billion subscribers. Ooh. I got a million hits. Ooh. But you still the same nigga. You still that same, out of your own testimony, black man or African. You're still out of your own mouth says that I'm a victim and I don't mind being victimized. I'm a victimizer. I'm a liar. I'm a cheat. I'm a thief. I'm a hypocrite. I'm an imposter. I'm fragile. You said out your own mouth. And then you used to use the word, I am broke. I've never seen a human body broken, maybe cut in half, but I've never seen a person broke. You know what I mean? So, right with this one. This thing is about the Maccabees or the Hellenists or the Troy or the Helen of Troy. In the history of Constantine, his mother Helen, and her son Constantine, who started Constantinople, who created Christianity. His mother Helen, who's from Troy, Greece, Athens, in that area. She went over to the Holy Land. And still she's called the Hellenist Judeans, the people of dark skin. So when you hear a Hellenist Jew, that means he's a Greek Israelite. He's a Greek who happens to have the blood of Israel in him. That's where you get a Hellenist Jew, because it was a pagan who turned over to being into the ways of Israel. Because in the Deuteronomy it says, your slaves and your friends and all of them must come over to you. You don't go over to them. And so some of the Hellenists converted over to Judaism. Not Jewism, but Judaism. And Judah is one tribe of Israel, whose father's real name is Jacob. And Israel meaning in Hebrew, he who wrestles with the Most High. A lot of us do that. So we got to recap on what the Maccabees and the Hellenists means. And so the Maccabees in Hebrew also means, and the Phoenician in Arabic means the people of Hammer. That's what those means. So I'm going to read it to you out this book called The Lost Books of the Bible and Eden. It even has a couple of things in here about Enoch. And understand, in order to understand the devil, you must have to study the devil and go into where he's at, and then take those things and flip it back on him. So it goes as follows. Right here. Some of it says chapter 8, Forgotten Books of Eden, the 4th book of Maccabees. The famous athletes of righteousness. Here ends the story of courage called the 4th book of Maccabees. Some of the guards declared that when she also was about to be seized and put to death, she cast herself on the pyre in order that no man might touch her body. O mother, that together with thy 7 sons didst break that tyrant's force and bring to naught his evil devices, and gavest an example of the noblest of faith. See, this lady had 7 sons, and they all watched each other die, and this mother watched her 7 sons die in the name of the Most High, the truth. How many of you people can say you were willing to do that for the truth? Die literally for the truth. Sacrifice your kids for the truth. She did this. like Jacob was willing to do. Jacob was willing to do for Isaac. Abraham was willing to do for Isaac. So it says, thou wert nobly set as a roof upon thy sons, as pillars, and the earthquakes of the torment shook thee not at all. Meaning that she was under retribution and torture and slavery over her sons to where they was going to be put to death, and she said, bring it. Rejoice therefore, pure-souled mother, having the hope of thy endurance certain at the time of God. Not so majestic stands the moon and the stars in the heaven, as thou having it the path, that seven star-like sons unto righteousness standest in honor with God, and thou art set in heaven with them. For thy children bearing was from the sons of Abraham. See? For thy childbearing was from the sons of Abraham, and had it been lawful for us to paint, as might some artists, the tale of thy piety, would not the spectators have shuddered at the mother of seven sons suffering for the righteousness' sake, multitudinous tortures, even unto death. And indeed it was fitting to inscribe these words over their resting place, speaking for the memorial to the future generations of our people. And it reads as follows. Here lie an aged priest and a woman full of years and her seven sons through the violence of a tyrant designed to destroy the Hebrew nation. They vindicated the rights of our people, looking unto God and enduring the torment even unto death. See, when we talk about a good name goes further than any money. And nobody talks about this woman. And so that's going to lead me into some segments about giving honor to the women that are not mentioned in the Bible, that is not mentioned in the Quran, that is not mentioned. See, there's women out here who sacrifice their children literally because they know the Most High. And they would not bow down to a Christmas, to an Easter, to a money, to a slave master, to a slave breaker, to a name called bitch. They would not do it. And they died. I'm a man. So when I read a story like that and they tell me that this woman gave up 7 sons that came out of her womb, this woman gave up 7 children out of her body for God, for the truth. Here's more gangster. From the youngest to the oldest, because I read the book of Maccabees 1, 2, and 3, how it all came about. Because it's 4 books, 1, 2, and 3. I just read you the 4th one, part of the 4th. But the baby boy seen his older brother get chopped up. The other 6 stood firm. 2 of the 7 got chopped up. The other 5 stayed firm. Then the 3, then the other 4, then the 4, then the other 3, then the 5, then the other 2, then the 6, then the last one seen his brother go down. The boy stood up on the word of the Most High and said, you've killed all my brothers and I've watched you. I'm going down with them too. Then the mother, she sees her 7 sons, the Cahoons, the Rebels, the nuts of these men, not niggas, not blacks, not Africans, but Israelites, Hebrew, the seed of Abraham. This mother seen these men die in front of her eyes, and she said, bring it, because I'm going down with them. That's where I got my fire from when I first read the Maccabees. That if the woman could do that, and I'm a man, I'm an authority of God, if she can do that, whom should I fear but the Most High himself? Powerful stuff, man. And for truly it was a holy war which was fought by them. For on that day virtue proving them through endurance set before them the prize of victory and incorruption and everlasting life. But the first in the fight was Eliezer, and the mother of the 7 sons played her part, and the brethren fought. Who will stand with me in this? And so we're going to take this in a little bit further, right? Because, thank you, Father, it confirms what I woke up on during attribute or contribution and honor to this woman, her 7 sons, and other women of true faith and true belief in the word, who lost their sons and daughters, to sticking firm and not being misled by their own ignorance. And so we have this book called All the Women in the Bible. Ooh, and I just copped this book not too long ago, because I'm tired of reading about these wicked men. When we know that women move the mind of kings, and the woman's sex organ, or coochie, or vagina, is the downfall of many nations and many kingdoms. Because Helen of Troy took down Greece, because these 2 sons didn't want to acknowledge that was another man's woman, and so 2 brothers died for some coochie that belonged to another man. The same thing that happened when Ham seen his son have sex with his mother. He didn't do nothing about it. So he was cursed. His skin was cursed black because he had no balls. He was a coward. That's why Africans are called, Africa means coward, because Ham was a coward against his own grandson, against his own son, about having sex with his mother. And so God turned his skin white, called Canaan. And so now we have homosexuality, incest, and all these things, because that's where that comes from. Bate boy, word fag, homosexual, homo sapien, you know what I mean? That's the history. But here it is. The woman who adopted a baby, Exodus 2:5-10, Acts 7:21, Hebrews 11:24. I'm going to read this whole thing to you. Although we have already briefly considered this royal, unedified female, compare Jochebed. A closer view of the only mother Moses really knew may be profitable. Who exactly was the new king over Egypt at the time of the birth of Moses? We do not know. But we do know. We know, but they don't know. But they on the right path though, because they brought this out, but nobody else would do it. So this is why we're reading it, because they're giving honor to our sisters and our mothers and our grandmothers. Conjecture have him as Ahames 1, or Ramesses 2, or Seti 1. In like manner, what the name of his daughter was, no one knows. The princess credited with a royal deed, without leaving her signature, has been made out to be Thermophis, or Marina, or Mercis. Whatever name legend may give her, the Bible preserves her anonymity, even though she stands to the fortunes and the fate of the Israelite nations. Israeli is not a nation. Jew is not a nation. But there's that nation thing again. As its instrumental providence and contributory savior. Describing as a daughter of Pharaoh suggests that she was the Egyptian ruler's only daughter. Our first impression of the princess is the contrast her character affords to the portrait of another Egyptian female we have just written about. Potiphar's wife manifests the undisciplined forces of womanhood in the most violent form. See, Potiphar's wife was a slut. She was disrespectful and dishonorable to her own husband and to God himself. Because it says, Potiphar's wife manifests the undisciplined forces of womanhood. So when you call yourself a bitch and all that, say, thank you, Potiphar's wife. You know, what they call them people? The Phoenician kings, Babylonians. And it says, Pharaoh's daughter blots out the dark portrait and gives us one of a woman, kind, tender, and compassionate. She was a heathen woman, destined to be the woman who should save a baby from a terrible death, care for him, although she was a Hebrew. Oh, no, that's wrong. I said she was a Hebrew, that was somewhere else. I said tender, compassionate. Okay, that's right. She was a heathen woman, destined to be the woman who should save a baby from a terrible death. cared for him, although he was a Hebrew. See, Moses was a Hebrew Israelite, and laid the foundation of this great work for God. Pharaoh's daughter was an Egyptian, an idolater, who worshipped the sun. Yet in the motherhood of the child whom she delivered from the Nile and named Moses, she revealed that she was above the pagan plane, even above the cruelty of her pagan parent. At the risk of jeopardizing her favor with her father, Potiphar, who had decreed the drowning of all male Hebrew babies, she felt it too cruel to murder the precious bundle of humanity found in the bulrushes. So, Egypt has always been an idol worshiper. Egypt, Africa, Ham, has always, since they left the boat, has always been a coward. See, when you are scared of your own children, that's because you are African, you are a Hamite. That is the spirit of Ham, because Ham sat and watched as his father was drunk, watched his grandson have sex, his son have sex with his mother. He defiled his father's bed. He disrespected the order. It's in the book of Deuteronomy, Leviticus. It's in the Torah. And so, as an Egyptian woman, the princess enjoyed great liberty. Although with her female attendants, she came to the reserved part of the Nile to wash, seeing its waters were considered to be healthy and fructifying. Seeing the small basket, Pharaoh's daughter sent one of her maidens to fetch it. As soon as she opened it and saw the lovely child, she had compassion on him in spite of the fact that he was one of the Hebrew children, whom her despot father had ordered to be killed. See, they found a new way to kill us, Israel, and it's called consuming. It's called media. They kill you with the eyes and these false desires of the heart and make you or treat you as if, or feed you as if this is all you need. I got you. So they've been doing this for thousands of years. And every time we get a leader, you know, the Pharaoh, he sends out a new drug or a new drowning of the people, of the children. Crack is a drowning. Meth is a drowning. If you mess up the DNA strands of marijuana, it's a drowning. If you mess up the DNA strands of the coca leaf, it's a drowning. If you mess up the DNA strands of the opiate leaf, it's a drowning. Oh, poppy seed, it's a drowning. When you misrepresent what is natural, you're drowning. And that's what they do. They drown us into consummation, materialisms, and all these things, and they keep dipping us and dipping us like a donut in a coffee. So you're Starbucks right now. You're Starbucks. You know, meaning that you're planetary bucks. You know? But it says, the babe wept, and his tears opened a well of compassion in the heathen heart of the princess. And she exhibited a tender affection for children. With her love, she mingled concern for the baby's welfare, and as we have seen, his own mother was secured as his nurse until he was weaned. Compare Miriam. Pharaoh's daughter did not look upon little Moses as a delightful plaything for the palace, but as the foundling for whom she had risked her own life. It says, think of what would have happened if Pharaoh's daughter had not come down to the waters at the hour she did. The babe might have been destroyed in some way, but as the Most High called a heathen ruler Cyrus, his servant, so he used the pagan princess to deliver the child who has become one of God's greatest heroes. For 40 years, Moses was cared for and educated as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Having all the privileges of a son of the royal court, Stephen declared that Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in the crowds and deeds. Acts 7:22, surrounded with all the wealth and luxury of Pharaoh's court, Moses was taught to speak and write Egyptian language correctly. Attention would be given to the grace of style which was later to guide Moses as the writer of the first 5 books of the Bible. His education would also include arithmetic and geometry, something in which the Egyptians, even in that far-off age, were most proficient. Moses also acquired the knowledge of Egyptian law, which is put to good use when he came to write the Mosaic law. From the priest of religion, he learned much about religious morality. Thus, in the education the princess gave her adopted son, we have an evidence of God's overruling providence in the shaping of the future of Israel's great leader. Thereon, Brown reminds us that the Hebrew nation, the whole world, proud of the sublime man Moses, came to be and indebted to her for his life, his education, and his name. She alone stood effectually between him and death. The tomb and fillet of this interesting woman have not been found. If ever her unperished form is brought to light, clad in the enduring cerements that wrap the dead of her kingly family, we shall know her name. But it would be dearer to know that her living soul dwells not far from man of sacred history, no, not far from the son she adopted in love, the grandest man of sacred history, who, but for her, would never have been. Moses never forgot that he was a Hebrew, and through many years of his sojourn in Egypt, he had to endure the ceaseless and amplified envy and hostility of the officers of the royal court. But Pharaoh's daughter never lost faith in her gifted son. One wonders whether Moses brought her to know Yahweh as God overall. It must have been a headache for this foster mother when she could no longer protect her son. In a fit of indignation, Moses killed an Egyptian taskmaster for savagely flogging a Hebrew. And fearing the vengeance of Pharaoh, Moses hid the body in the sand, but someone witnessed the deed, and Moses fled for his life from the stately lady who for 40 years had lavished care and attention upon him, making life tolerable for him in a land of bondage. Did she ever see him again? Was she alive when 40 years later he returned to Egypt as the mighty deliverer of the Israelite nation from cruel bondage? We do not know. We think of her as the Bible pictures her, a kind-hearted Egyptian princess, a noble and tender woman who lived in a cruel time. Through divine providence, she was the instrument of saving the babe from death, who became Moses, the servant of the Most High. So big up to the women who listens to their heart and to the wisdom of the Most High. See, woman is the wisdom, man is the authority. Authority needs wisdom, or wisdom needs authority. And when you put them in one body, it becomes a strong force. It becomes a strong light. It becomes a cord when you wrapped up with the Spirit of the Most High, that three chords. You get the Spirit of the Most High, you get the authority of the Most High, and you get the wisdom wrapped up in one body. Bang, you're a living storm. Arm, leg, arm, head, what they call Allah. We are the many gods. We are the small G. You know, while we wait for the big G. Till next time, America will bring you up to speed on some more dynamite women in the scriptures that are not talked about or not examined. But remember, too, that the woman that saved Moses in the lake or in the river when he was in a basket ship, and he was shipped down the river by his mama for protection, that she was a pagan in Africa, in Egypt. She was a pagan. And in that, it was evil and cruel times. They just had the wisdom to control that evil. And so, through the Most High, He gave her compassion